Like when people say that like they don't like their high school moments, like I feel sad for them because I feel like we had so much fun.
We really did it right.
We
lifted up. We peaked in high school. Here we are still talking about it 20 years later. We haven't been able to move on from it.
Still following us.
Still everywhere we go. Wait, what's like the one thing that just stands out in everyone's head of like, God damn it, that was like the worst thing I could have done? Like what's one moment for everybody overall?
I mean, we can all look at me for that one. Mine definitely was the Cava and Jessica situation.
When you guys got in a fight.
I just feel like it's now having kids too. Like, like my heart and my gut is like, I just would never want anyone to talk that way or be, but again, it's high school and you do catty things and you're girls, but like to have that like live forever. And then not only that, but I like loved Jessica too. It was like, we weren't like best friends, like senior year, but like we definitely were friends in some moments. Like,
listen, we've been sharing a bed all weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're good,
Right.
you know, like
Things are fine.
Yeah. Like
we've been fine since that happened. We were fine.
Yeah.
After the show aired, we would like
be like,
we
oh
were
my.
still be great. We were still great friends. So, but
Well,
it's
because
just
on
to,
the
like,
opposite side, like that's an embarrassing moment for me too. Like not standing up for myself and being like, okay, whatever you want, you know, like that doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't look good either,
No.
you know.
Right.
So I get it. Like you
and I feel like that was like
were the
like my,
aggressor technically,
Yeah.
so you're like,
was.
I'm not trying to take away that like you know
No.
bad moment from you either. But it's like, you know, I don't think either one of us
No.
shined in that time.
it wasn't a shiny moment.
No.
It was really shine on that show ever, to be honest. I don't think I had one shiny moment.
Yeah, were there any?
I don't think so. Except for maybe Trey, because they were always showing him in a good light. Like, that's nice,
True
Trey.
that. Why
That's
do you love him so
really
much?
nice. You're such a
Charity
good
guy.
guy.
I love that for him.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So nice
Good
for him. Yeah.
What about you, Hoosie?
Again, like I feel like I was like okay, but like some of like the fiesta party, like so fun, like not a very shiny moment, but just the fact that we were like consuming and that was out there, like
hammered.
kind of gnarly. Yeah,
Hammered at
I think
like
it
2
like fully
p.m.
showed me like pouring
yeah.
a margarita.
You know what it was?
In a
It was
red
the
cup.
margarita mix.
The
They
mix.
couldn't actually show the
Right,
alcohol,
right,
but they
right.
showed you pouring the
Right.
mix and like, what are they drinking?
Yeah, I wonder what that is.
After
And then we're
school on like a
hammered.
Friday. I know, but I mean, it. I don't know.
That could have been worse for
It could have
sure,
been
though.
worse.
I mean,
Yeah.
we were just talking about this whole weekend. Like, we got after it in Laguna, and I think a little bit differently than other schools. Like Laguna, we grew up quickly.
Totally.
We had access to a lot of things. It's obviously a wealthy community. I think in really wealthy communities, parents kind of like look the other way.
Right.
And we got into a lot of trouble. Yeah. Like that was a normal Friday.
That was a normal thing to do. It wasn't
Yeah.
like we just did that
Right.
out
I
of
also-
the blue.
Right.
It's like the partying was just like that in Laguna.
That's what we did.
It was like also a very hippie community. So I feel like that also played like a big role versus like some of the other towns next door. It's like parents are very much like, you know, it kind of involved, like knew what we were doing and like it was
Yeah.
okay. Like, 'cause
That's
they
true.
were kind of doing it too.
It was more acceptable. Okay, is there anything where you're like the producers really did me dirty in that situation where you felt like they like set you up or maybe like things were twisted around and you're just like it was all because of MTV?
Everything.
I know. I totally get that.
There was one scene I remember that Jason and I were at dinner and they like cut to like us playing footsie under the table and me being like, why don't you come over? Like my mom's gone or something. I'm like, something weird like that. And I'm like, that didn't even happen.
Yeah.
Like that's not even true. And my mom wasn't gone. And I was like, that like at 16, like that seems like that was like very risque to me.
Right.
Well,
I
that
didn't like
is kind of
at all.
pushing the
You know what I
boundary.
Yeah.
mean? I was like, that
Right.
was kind of gross.
So did
you
they
know?
get that with wild lines where you would literally just say audio lines? and
Yeah,
they would
I
plug
probably
them
was
in?
like telling you
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, my mom's not home right now. Like,
Oh,
whatever,
right.
you know,
Or they
something
take it
like
from
that.
another scene and
right.
splice it
Like
in.
if you don't see, oh, they shot to my feet and had me saying that. Like,
Right.
of course I wasn't saying that because they would have showed my face.
So I
if
always
did.
said when it came out, if you don't actually see the words coming out of my mouth,
Yep.
I didn't say it there.
Yep. And if you go back and really listen, like you can tell the like volume is
Yep.
different.
Yep.
Well, the
You know?
editing in general, like Talon would have short hair and then long hair, or like I was like
Oh my
10
gosh.
pounds heavier in one thing scene, and the next scene I was like back to like being like thinner again. It's like it was. I feel like for me, like that. I think our storyline with Jason really did me dirty.
Yeah.
Like I was really stealing her boyfriend, like especially the winter formal.
Oh yeah.
They were not together.
Wait, remind me what happened at Winter Formal?
No, we were still together.
No, you guys had
Oh,
gone
my
back
God.
together. I had asked him before, and he said yes.
Yeah, but you had asked him like long before.
Yes,
Right,
and then you
together.
guys had got together.
And I was like, that's fine. I'll go with Jake. I don't want to babysit
And
him
I asked you.
anyways.
Yeah.
Remember? I was
And
like, enjoy.
I actually think we might have filmed a scene where like I did ask like, hey Jess, or called you, hey, like I'm totally fine going with Jake or whoever it was.
Right.
Like, so you and Jason can go together. And you
I
were
was
like,
like,
no, it's totally cool. And I was like, Jason, go with Jessica. And he's like, it's fine. Like, we're all going to be together. Like,
We're
and
literally
I was like,
all
I
in the
don't-
same limo together and
Right.
stuff. You know, it like wasn't a.
Yeah. So I feel like I feel like
that wasn't
ours-
fair on you because that's not how.
I feel like it really made me look like I was like the aggressor and like really trying to steal Jason away from Jessica,
Yeah.
which was like just timepieces edited when
Yep.
there was never a cheat. Like he never cheated on Jessica with, or what is it?
Yeah, never
Well,
cheated on
cheated,
Jessica with you.
right.
Yeah.
Like I was never the reason why they broke up, or the time periods were so far that. So
But don't you feel like with the show, like in that, because the producers kind of would like tell you things to like feed you a little bait before something. So it like, even though you know what was actually going on, you can't help but kind of fall into like the situation.
well, I think me and Jason
Yeah.
dating in general was
Right.
that. Like it was
Right.
like, oh, like
They,
you
like,
guys have
took
been
it in
friends for
ran.
so long. Let's go. Like, do you guys want to go to dinner? And we're like, that's why it's so awkward in those moments. Like, oh, I like your face. Like,
Oh
I'm like,
yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
like-
funny. Or like that was the thing. Like we'd be sarcastic about something, like fucking around, and then they would use it to make it look like it was real. And I'm like, remember, like we were walking on one side of the street. Okay, this is one of my favorites. Okay, you, Jessica, Hoosie, and I are walking on one side of the street. And there's a producer on the other side, and they're like, just, look over at her and like, make faces or whatever. And Jessica Reynolds, the producer, would like stick her tongue out us and stuff, and we'd be joking around like, what a bitch.
Yeah.
And then they made it look like we were talking to you and Taylor. Like you guys were on the other
and they did the
side.
same thing to us.
Like that's how
Yes.
we actually were, which
Yes.
isn't how it was.
And
It
I
was
also
so
think
rude.
like I don't think people realize like how close we
I
were
know.
and
Yeah,
us
that's
three.
so missed.
I
That
know.
like it was never like everyone's like, oh, you're friends with like Hoosie and Kristin. I was like, we were like best friends.
Yeah.
Like that whole part of the show, but I get it because like it needed to be divided to have storylines. I
Right.
guess.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, you can't have a show without drama, obviously. But like, I remember even watching it back for Back to the Beach, being like, God, was I really not friends with Alex Merle? And it's like, no, I'm falling for their shit. Like, this is
Right,
what
yeah,
they're doing.
right.
Like, no, we were all good friends. Even Taylor. Like, I didn't
Yes.
hate Taylor the same way
No.
that the show made it seem
No,
like.
no.
But
And
I
it was
mean,
so hard watching like the VHS tape that came too, and you're like, that's not even what we were talking about, and we didn't actually say that, and then you'd be like, what the heck? Like you have to relive
Remember
it,
we would
and
call
then like
each other.
yes, and be like,
I
what
didn't say
is
that
wrong
that
with you?
time.
Yeah,
Because we would get the tape like the day before
I think so,
it would
yeah.
air.
Yeah.
It was
Probably
like a week
just to
before.
get ready for it. Like
Yeah,
if you
I
think about
just
it, like,
talked
by
to
the way,
somebody literally before I came here that was like, well, you had say in like what was shown. I'm like, no, we didn't. We didn't even know what was going to air until the literal day before. They gave us 24 hours to like call our grandmas and be like, sorry, grandma, we're acting, you know?
Totally.
Like,
And
I
you guys,
mean,
like, I think about it all the time. Like, we were so young to have our lives manipulated like that.
Right.
Like, that's the one thing for me where I'm just like, I don't know. That should maybe be illegal in a lot of ways. Like, we were children.
Well,
and
and
like,
can
I'm
we
not
also-
playing the
Yeah.
victim card, but like, it was
No.
really difficult.
and
at
we also
times.
like didn't get
I
paid
cried all the
At
time.
like
all.
at all.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Yeah.
And then like the producers are like rolling around in their Bentleys, like after manipulating a bunch of 16 and 17-year-olds. I'm like,
By the
y'all,
way, still don't make a fucking penny. So
nothing.
while it's on Netflix and shit,
Now that it's
still
back on,
don't make
I'm
any.
like, can you pay my anxiety that my kids are now in middle school and are like, my friend watched your show, mom. I'm like,
my
oh
God.
no, you know,
know.
like.
yeah.
I'm like,
I
how about some
know.
royalties? You know,
No,
like
literally.
good night.
Throw us a
so,
bone.
so that always irritated me too. I'm like, y'all are like causing like a lot of stress, you know,
lot.
and then
Yeah.
we did not
Yeah.
really. I mean, we're all fine and everything's great, but I'm just like,
But for a kid, it's
we got very
difficult.
taken advantage of, and
sure.
so like we just didn't know it at the
Yeah.
time. You
I
know,
think that's like why we were like felt separated, because they wanted like the three of you to film, and then they wanted me, Taylor, and Morgan to film. So it was like filming wise, like we were never together because they had needed those, but
Right.
then we were all friends
Right.
on the back end.
Yeah.
But I really thought that I was gonna be like the funny girl on the show. Like I was like,
I love
was
that
like, this
so
is great.
much.
I was like, I like thought I was so funny. And then I would get the tapes and I like would go white. I'm like, I'm the mean girl.
I know.
What?
God.
I was like, I was just trying to be myself.
Right.
Like, that's how you really are. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Really, yeah.
No.
I was like, maybe I need to self-reflection here.
But it is interesting because like at that age, I think it's very rare for like a 17-year-old, let's say, to like know who they are. So I remember being like, whoa, am I this way? And if I am, I don't want to be like that. So I think it actually made me like grow up and hopefully become nicer.
For
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I feel
you do
like
the
that's the one
self-reflection.
like great benefit is
Yeah.
that you're like, I remember watching it being like, oh, that is not a great
not
quality.
the best.
That is not an attractive
Yeah.
trait. Let's
Yeah.
go ahead and
Yeah.
change that real quick. You know, so that was kind of
It was
nice.
learning.
Yeah.
For sure.
Even if it
Oh,
was
yeah.
manipulated in a bit, you're like, okay, well, even if it is, I still don't want to ever act like that. So let's get that
Right.
under control,
I
you know?
know.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of nice.
I had a lot of those moments.
Oh,
Same.
Oh God, we're really like that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, without the show, just high school in general, what if you could go back and relive any day, what would it be?
oh God, a day.
Or like a little time period in high
Yeah.
school? Because I mean, we had a lot of fun.
so
There
many
were
good
so many
ones.
highlights.
Like on, off, or off camera.
I could say,
Oh.
or either one. If it was an on-camera moment too,
Yeah.
that's fine. But
Well, like for me, I feel like we've been like reminiscing like before Laguna started
Yeah.
filming, like because that's when we met. Alex met you.
Yep,
Which I feel
sophomore
like isn't
year.
a known story. Yeah, like you.
no,
guys-
sorry, freshman year, the middle of freshman year. Yeah.
Middle of
It
freshman
was like
year.
the summer or something.
Right.
No,
Oh,
because
you're
it was
right.
driver's ed. It was like
Yes.
the second semester of
'Cause then
freshman
You
year.
came,
yeah.
you came to Laguna sophomore year,
Yep.
right? So it was like those moments before when we were first getting to know you and you were
Yeah.
becoming involved. Like Alex was like, oh my gosh, I met this like really fun girl at driver's ed, and we all became friends, and then like ended up having like boyfriends that were kind of friends
Yep.
like that period of time, but they also could drive, so they could give us rides everywhere.
Hell yeah.
I just had a memory pop in my head, and sorry, Jess, I don't think you were in this one, but do you guys remember? We would all get dressed at my house,
Yeah.
and we'd wear like these big old heels, like
God, like the
and
platforms. Yeah.
I lived at like top of the world, which like for people who don't know, it's like, but like the canyon is like right beneath you.
Yep.
So we would. Do you remember we'd walk the
fire
fire road,
trail.
and
We'd
which
like
is
party up there.
yeah,
Oh
and in our
my
little heels, we're like
God.
clickety clackety clickety,
Yeah.
and it was
And
like
our, like full going
we'd
out
like
outfits.
sneak out, and it was like pitch black dark on a mile long canyon
Yeah.
road to
Yeah.
go meet up with God knows who.
Well,
like,
you could get to like the other valley or whatever
Yeah.
where all the other houses were, so it would be a party over yonder.
We-
Down
we
yonder.
would go
Yonder.
like hike a mile.
I
It
just
was a
remember
fire
the like
trail, but
clickety
still.
clack of our heels,
Oh
like
my
going down
God.
like the steep, like
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the shit we used to do.
Yeah.
Or like we were talking last night, like our freshman year, there was another girl, Bailey, who used to hang out with us too. And we'd be like, Dad, I'm spending the night at Bailey's. Dad, I'm spending the night at Alex's. Dad,
Right.
you know,
Like
and
the
then, and then,
crisscross.
but then there were sometimes we'd be like, now where do we go?
Where do we
Right.
go?
At like 4
Yeah.
a.m. We're like,
Yeah.
wait, now what?
yes,
Yeah.
I think I slept
We've
in my
been out.
car
Yeah.
a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Where I'm like,
Right.
oh, we really fucked that up.
None of us could go to either house
Yeah.
at like 2
We didn't
in the
think about that.
morning.
No, yeah, didn't think
Yeah.
about that.
No,
we
yeah,
just wanted to
we're
make
like,
sure we
oh,
could
well.
stay out late. And
Right,
then I was like,
right.
oh no. And then we'd be like, okay, what's the earliest we could go to someone's house?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
that's
Right.
like
And
realistic.
not have
We'd
it
like
look
walk in the
bad.
door with
Yeah.
like 2 hours of sleep. We're like,
Right.
oh God. Kristen like didn't have pajamas, so we had to like.
Right. Like have a whole story behind
Yes!
it. Like,
Oh
oh,
my God.
I
And I
had to
had
go
my
somewhere.
own phone line, so like which was like so dumb of my parents. I'm like,
that was such a
I'd be
big
like,
deal.
hey,
Yeah,
reach
yeah.
the Merles, but it was like my line.
Yep.
So we'd give it all to the parents.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
I love
Yeah,
that.
They
I
would,
had like a
leave
whole
it-
system.
They're like,
Yep.
leave your parents' number. I'm like, give them my number.
Right.
Our poor
Right.
kids aren't going to get away with anything.
But they-
Because we know, but B, like this day and age, it's like we were like the
Well,
last
now we
people
can,
that
like,
could
did
really
it all.
live it up, you
yeah,
know?
it's so different.
But do
Yeah.
you feel like, because like my mom has always said, but watch, they'll be one step ahead of you. Like, do you feel like it's
Yeah.
different though? Like now with like
Yes.
social media. So even like you can put trackers on phones.
Yeah.
I've heard too, there's ways for them to like turn it
No,
off.
and they can increase their bubble to
Yeah.
like
Oh,
make
yeah.
it like
Yeah.
I don't know how, so
But
I'm
that's what
trying to figure all that out.
They
but-
figure shit out. So we're like, oh, they can't get anything past us.
yeah,
but like,
but no, they will.
They will.
They'll just be
Oh, gosh.
way more sneaky and not
Yeah.
as dumb as being like
Literally.
in the
Well,
car
no,
for 2
I bet
hours.
they all talk and they're like, parents know how to do this,
Yep.
so you have to do that,
Yep.
and like
Yeah.
hide this in that app.
Or like
Damn
sneaking
it.
out of my house because my room was on like the main level
Oh
and there was
my
no
God.
screen or anything on
Yeah.
it. So we would just open it
We
up,
would.
hop out,
We
bye.
would.
Yeah.
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 I remember too one time like sneaking back in, I stepped on the blow dryer. So it starts going off and we're like makes this frantic rumbling and we've like got it off, got settled, jumped in bed, and your dad actually came in to like check.
He did?
And for like timing wise, we like had made it. Like we all were in bed just like
Holy shit, I don't remember
oh.
that.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely got taken home by the cops a few times after I'd snuck
Ooh.
out. My dad's
Yeah.
like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I thought you were
that was
sleeping.
like a thing though. Cops would get called. Like I remember
Oh,
getting
no,
put
the
in a
curfew
paddy
We
ticket.
were
wagon.
underage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for how
We
like
weren't allowed to be
wild
out
we
past
were.
10.
Like there was a lot of cops out. Like
I know.
Yeah.
Laguna
looking
has a
for
ton.
us.
But I mean,
Yeah.
they like rightfully so.
Well, yeah.
All the kids party there all the time.
Right.
They would like throw keg parties in the canyon.
Yeah.
Where like
Yeah.
we would like go through, but like the clickety clack story I was just saying, like we would like go through the bushes and like rocks and boulders and like there's probably like a pack of coyotes over there.
Literally.
And we're like, oh, let's get a beer. Like there was like no place. If there was no place, that's where we would go.
That's where we would go. I had a party one time. I had a Halloween party. You guys remember this? I think my dad was on his honeymoon or something. And raging party. I was a nurse, like one of those little slutty nurses.
I remember.
I have pictures from this.
Yes.
I cleaned that house fucking spotless. I was like, my dad will never know. He found one beer can underneath the couch, and he was like, "You had a party." I was like, "God damn it!" I was so close. That was like one beer can. Although now that I'm an adult, I'm like, he probably just said that honestly, and then I just caved. You know, I was like, "Shit, you're right. I'm sorry. I had some friends over." Like that's what I would do as a parent to try to catch my kids.
Yeah.
Sure. Be like, I'm gonna trap them.
Exactly. Or like the neighbor told me that you know you get some people over.
Oh,
It's
like, I
always
did
the
it. I'm
neighbors.
sorry.
Always the damn neighbors. Good thing I don't have any neighbors. Or no, not a good thing. I can't use that on my
No.
kids. Well, the neighbor
neighbor
Down there, way under.
miles away told me they saw a lot of cars coming in.
Oh my God. Or like, I remember I would like take out my mom's car before we could drive. And, but then, do you remember this?
Yes.
Do you remember when your mom lived in CDM?
Yeah. I
And
was
you
like
took
that
out her
big.
Oh,
car.
yeah.
I remember.
Do you remember when I crashed it picking up
It was
Bailey?
like a Mercedes, right?
Yeah, no, it was a
I was in the
BMW.
car
Okay,
with
okay.
you.
Okay,
It was
this
like
is a good
beep, beep, beep,
story.
crash.
So
no.
this is like forever gonna haunt me, but like, so we go to pick up Bailey, me and Hoosie, and my mom was out of town. It was like her brand new X5.
Oh, no.
Don't have my
I
license.
forgot about this story.
Go
That was so
to
scary.
Pelican, like Newport Coast, and Michaela was with us.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is the house, and I like thought it wasn't. I was like, haha. Wrong house, Michaela. Like, that's the wrong house. We're
Like
never
make
go to
the
wrong
friend go
house.
find you or like tricking them.
No, I was like, yeah, that's the house, Michaela. Like, no, it's not. I was like, I'm gonna reverse because it's the wrong house. And I like, my karma, bam, like right into like some tiny car. And I panicked and I tried to go back into drive, still in reverse.
Do it again.
No.
Yeah. Fully hit it again.
Bailey, yeah,
The
Bailey-
alarm goes off.
Bailey
comes
runs out.
Oh God.
And they,
sorry.
yeah, no, keep going. Michaela, they run in the car and like in the gated community, they always write down your license plate. So I was like, oh no, I'm so
Didn't
screwed.
someone came out of their house to like see what was going on, and we
I was
just
like,
I think we
You just left.
I wasn't
I
driving.
was 15.
Yeah, I mean, you would have been fucked. What'd you say?
She goes,
I wasn't the driver.
I didn't.
I don't think it wasn't like a crash, but it was enough to
no
like
one was in it. It
bump.
was a parked car.
But you know, you're like frantic, so it's like try to go drive,
So I
and you're thinking you're
pull
driving,
in.
you reverse.
And we look at my mom's car, not a fucking scratch.
Wow.
I was
Thank
like,
God.
ooh. Like, and like my mom was so scary in high school. Like my dad was cool, but my mom was scary. And I was like, okay, they got back home. No one talked about it. No one called about the license plate. Thought it was in the clear. Well, the fucking neighbor.
No, goddamn neighbors, man.
And I like, oh my God, I think I was granted for the summer. Like,
You must have been.
Yeah.
it was,
Was it your mom that
shit.
started writing her mileage down on her car?
yes. Yes.
Oh, wait, that's a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah, to make sure.
Yes.
That is
because she was going back and forth. So,
my God.
That's actually genius.
Yeah, that is a really
Or
good
like the
idea.
parents that will put water in the vodka bottles and stuff. I remember
I didn't know that.
Measure
we
the
used,
bottle.
Yeah, we used to steal wine from my dad all the time. And my dad one time sat me down and he was like, you see this bottle? This is a $200 $200 bottle. You see this one? $150. He's like, you take another fucking bottle, you're dead. I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Like, it wasn't even that good.
he's like,
shit wine anyways.
oh my God, you're probably like pounding it, like
well,
having
yeah,
like a
like you're
vodka.
not drinking wine to
literally.
sip it for its flavor at that point. You're just like,
God.
cool,
Oh my God.
booze.
So insane.
Yeah.
We're lucky to be alive, quite honestly, some of the shit we did.